So you're listening to 97.7 The Heat WKSH. I'm Calvin Lester. That's Stephen Jackson. We thank you for taking some of your time to stick with us. As always, we thank Brother Antoine for opening this portal to allow us to have these conversations with you about those issues that matter to you in the community. If you want to participate, the hotline is open, 318-779-0459, 318-779-0459. We'd love to hear from you and your comments about what's going on. So I was reading, and of course, you know, the Louisiana legislature is in the process of getting started. They're having their regular legislative session. We've been talking to you about some of their reapportionment, and at some point we're going to get some of our representatives to come back and kind of give us a wrap up on that. But they're starting to do their work in the regular session, and as I appreciated, this year being an even year, they cannot do any tax legislation. So this is the session where they deal with regular issues.
Mess with everybody.
So speaking to that, there's a state representative from
Drop the name, bro.
No, I'm trying to get him. His name is.
If you bout it.
I'm about it. I'm listen. I'm the first No Limit soldier. His name is Representative Philip Devalier from Eunice.
Okay.
He's sponsor of one of the 5 bills. There are 5 bills this session that have been pre-filed to create something called educational savings accounts, which the people who are proponents, they say it's the next generation of school choice. This would give families access to the state share of the annual school aid, about $5,500 per year, to help pay for private school tuition, tutoring services, supplemental materials, or technological devices. That money now goes from the state to local school districts to educate children. And so in their mind, what they're going to do is create a scenario where you can pull your child from your local school and go to a private school and have the state pay for the private education. Now, you will say, well, where do these bills come from? Of course, you've heard of ALEC, that think tank, we're going to put that in quotation mark, that goes around the country that gives us these great ideas. And I say great ideas because they're horrible ideas. Generally speaking, they're very, very conservative, very, very right-wing, and they start in one part of the country and they just copy it and paste and try to bring it over here. So one thing that they're trying to do is basically gut public education and gut our local school systems with the idea that, well, we want to give parents the choice to do what they want to do to, quote unquote, empower parents. These are the same folks that were empowering folks talking about not having their children in masks. These are the same folks that want to ban certain books. These are the same folks that want to ban certain curriculum, like the curriculum that accurately talks about slavery and things of that nature. That's kind of what they want to do. So that's what I was thinking. What are your thoughts?
So it look like
I
need to start me a homeschooling service.
Well,
it sounds like a money grab to me.
Well, let's do it like this.
What that money sound? You know. It sounds like it's a money grab to me.
Well, let me say this. According to what I read, they say they're going to limit the accounts to select students, including those attended troubled public schools, children with special needs, and those who have been targeted for bullying, and students from reading problems. So, you know, we've got a situation.
Yeah. So I mean, you know.
I don't see why we would have a scenario of doing something crazy like that. But
that ain't answer my question. Do I need to go start me a home daycare service? You know, because it sounds like a money grab to me.
Well, you know what? My folks say if it walk like a duck, quack like a duck, act like a duck, it might be a duck. It seems like that, you know, the thing that's amazing to me is a lot of these right-wing so-called conservative folks that are into all of this deciding what should be best for parents. They always have a way of saying what they think is best, but they don't actually have a conversation with the parents to find out what's going on.
They never do.
You know, and these people are not professional educators. A lot of these folks didn't go to college and certainly were not educators. They don't have degrees in educational They don't have PhDs in education, higher education leadership. They didn't go and get masters and masters plus 30 like a lot of our parents did. Shout out to mom, I love you. That got her masters plus 30 at Southern and whatnot. These are folks that just off the rip just want to do something to get a headline and further gut public education. But if you read between the lines, the folks that are attending troubled public schools, I would think they would be our listeners more often than not, and people who live in our communities. And so rather than to find ways to strengthen our local public schools, they're talking about taking some of the money away.
Continue to divest.
Continue
divestment of public education.
divestment in public education.
Yeah, subsidizing private
Correct.
philanthropy.
Correct.
And I tell you what really is going on.
What's going on?
The GOP, these conservative folks, they have what's called these sort of push polls or these sort of sessions, these sort of, where they poll people's emotions.
Right.
Frank Luntz, the pollster, the GOP pollster, will tell you they spend millions of dollars polling people to figure out what triggers, what gets people riled up.
And so I'm going to write a bill.
First term Obama.
Right.
They tried to throw everything at the wall. First term, maybe in his first year.
Right.
And they could, and it's in his book. They couldn't bring his numbers down. And then they finally got him with the quote unquote Wall Street bailout.
Right.
The man in the middle of the stock market talking about this is the new Tea Party or the new Boston, and it's a corporate bailout of Wall Street. And that got, and when they when they tested it on folks, it was through the roof.
They got a rise. That's what we're going with.
And they do the same thing with critical race theory.
Right.
They do the same thing with Confederate monuments.
Right.
They do the same thing with COVID-19. They data test folks. They beta test folks on their emotions and what gets people riled up. And then they go write a bill and create an issue. So, problem, but we're going to go get a solution.
For a problem that don't exist.
Well,
there you go. There you go.
That's what they do.
There you go.
And it gets their base riled up and stirred up.
Well, let's ask this question. What's happening next year?
Well, what's happening this year?
Okay.
What's happening this fall?
Well, that's right. You got a Senate election.
Right. Senate election. And every house
seat is up. You got people running for mayor and council and school board and places like
Exactly.
So if I get you mad about your school, I need to show them something.
San Francisco.
Right. So you're going to run down to the polls and get with it.
Governor McAlfee. Oh, my bad. So, and to your point, next year is the governor's race. And so next year, we got governor's race. We got state representative race. We've got state senate, attorney general race. We got all those races, state level races, all up and down the ballot. And so, let's find our issue. Let's start beta testing people and let's get them riled up for 8 months plus so they can be fired up when they go to the poll. Mad. Right. And then these become our issues.
Right.
And if you're not on these issues, we ain't messing with you. I'm told they spend millions beta testing this stuff.
Wow.
They beta test this stuff and they just sit and they see what's triggering folks. Yeah. Second Amendment rights.
Right. Property rights.
I want my rights. And they shoot out an email and see what gets folks fired up, what gets them triggered up, what gets them emotional.
Right.
Danny McCormick.
Right.
And now you got a situation where you got two multi-million dollars, probably worth $1 billion in investments that could be coming to Cattle Parish now sitting in jeopardy. Danny McCormick. Because SWEPCO announced that they was creating $100,000 jobs
Right.
out of South in West Shreveport.
Right.
Shout out Commissioner Epperson. Shout out Councilman Bowman. $100,000 job.
Right. Well, that's a good thing, right?
Right. They trying to bring $100,000 jobs. Guess what?
What's the problem?
They ain't got no zoning
Well, why don't they have zoning?
because they out in the parish. They not in the corporate limits of City of Shreveport.
So why does that matter?
It matters because they can't move. See, they need a site plan. See, what they thought was, they thought they had a PUD. A PUD is planned urban development.
Correct.
That means you got everything. You got all your, well, they need a zone. They want to change the zoning.
Right.
So they need a zoning change.
Right.
And now they can't go forward because there is no planning body because Danny McCormick,
So let's back up for those that don't know.
what was in place, Danny McCormick undid.
So let's talk about what was in place. Let's educate our folks. So in the city limits of Shreveport, there's an organization that was created sometime in the 1950s called the Metropolitan Planning Commission. The Metropolitan Planning Commission looks throughout the width and breadth of Shreveport, and I think a zone that's, 5 miles outside of...
Because they realized that development back in the 50s,
Correct.
they realized that suburbanization was inevitable.
Correct.
And that means suburbanization means people was going to move into these rural areas.
Right. Unincorporated areas, and the city was going to start to expand. So
they
want
had
to
the
keep the
foresight.
same. You want to keep the same set of rules, theoretically, in this part of town as that part of town.
As Commissioner Epperson said, I can stand in the middle of Jolly Napier, spread my feet 5 degrees to the east and 5 degrees to the west.
Correct.
And have one side of my foot, 1 foot in the city of Shreveport and the other foot in the parish of Caddo.
Correct. And many organizations have such a understanding.
Right.
So that there is one set of rules that everyone expects.
Right.
Now, 2 years ago, Representative Danny McCormick, who's a state representative from North Shreveport, where they are concerned about their rights, filed a piece of legislation, much like you said, got people emotional about their property rights, and they didn't want the city or anybody else telling them what they want to do in their area.
Right.
So a law was passed, or he passed a law that wound up being a constitutional.
Right. While everybody was at home, shut down on COVID, couldn't come down to the Capitol and testify.
That's right.
They shot it through there.
And so the new law says the city does have a Metropolitan Planning Commission, but in that 5 mile zone, nothing. Well, they thought that, as I appreciated, by them wiping it out, that means there's going to be Katie bar the door. We can do what they want to do. But that's not the case.
No.
Why is that?
Because you have to have zoning and planning. See, they went crazy when I went down there and said, let's get rid of all of this.
Right.
And I'll tell you another reason why you got to have planning and zoning. Because when you have a company like SWEPCO that's investing millions of dollars, they want what's called predictability. They want to make sure if I give you this $1 million, multi-million-dollar improvement, you can't come put Bebe's Boom Boom Room.
Right.
Shout out to Bebe. Shout out to Chico.
Right.
You can't come put the Boom Boom Room up in my bad, Johnny B. You can't come put the Boom Boom Room up in next door, and you can't come put your hog slot next door to me.
You want to have some sense of order to your development. Because in those instances where there has been no order, you've had a hodgepodge of all kind of everything. One of the issues that I had when I was on the council a million years ago, and I still have that issue, is that when they passed the liquor ordinance,
I'm about to go there.
they grandfathered a lot of these businesses in, so that ordinarily you cannot have a liquor store within 300 feet of a church, synagogue,
residential
center, residential area, unless you live in a black neighborhood.
Right.
And so those businesses, you know, these liquor stores that's masquerading as convenience stores in our neighborhoods, they are allowed to sell alcohol or whatnot because they were grandfathered in. Well, basically because this grandfather clause, they are violating the law
Right.
every day. But when we
They would
raised
be
those,
violating the law if they was in another part of town.
well, yeah,
Okay, be clear.
Yeah.
If they were in another part of town, they would be
Yes.
violating the law.
because they have a non-conforming use,
Right.
and they don't have a use by right. They have what's called a non-conforming use, and at some point, that's why for those of you that watch, shout out to our councilwoman Tabitha Taylor, that did some really good work closing down that liquor store on the Martin Luther King community, on Martin Luther King Drive specifically. When you shut down one of those businesses and you finally get it shut down, they cannot operate. All they have to do is be closed for one day without changing
Right.
ownership,
Right.
because you are non-conforming, and once you're out of compliance, you're out of compliance. You can't come back. That's why what happens is when they know they're going to get in trouble, they
try to
sell
go
the
sell it.
business
they try
to
go
their
sell it.
cousin
Yeah.
to keep the license,
Right.
and they don't have to shut down.
Right.
But the city has gotten much better about that and being able to shut them down. Granted, they have to go through legal delays and things of that nature, but when you get them shut down, they're gone for good.
Right. And all that foot traffic.
Right.
Because I used to come past that MLK spot at 8, 9, 10 o'clock. Sometimes I come past there if I was working late, because I
Right.
used to work at David Raines. If I was
Correct.
working late,
Right.
it'd be midnight.
Yeah.
Cars packed up in there.
Wide open, baby.
Wide open.
Like it's noon.
Turning the tire marks you see there
Yeah.
come from that store right there. They used to be there just,
Oh, yeah. I'm
but now you
familiar.
done shut that down
Correct.
and you ain't got that element there no more.
Correct. Correct.
You know, I remember when COVID hit real hard, they went back to a lot of those stores and found out that they didn't have proper food in there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them didn't have hot food in there.
Mhm.
So
Also,
they knew.
yeah, they knew about it.
Mhm.
Come on, man. You
They
know,
knew.
you know.
They knew.
And
They knew.
so they had to act, straighten their act up. But man, a lot of those places, man, a lot of those stores do not donate to the community,
No.
help the community, or do anything. This Pipes right here on the corner. I'm gonna say it loud,
Yeah.
loud. I done went and asked them a number of times to help us on different occasions, events that we have
They ain't
here.
gonna do nothing
And they sell all these raggedy cars
to the community.
to our community.
Mhm.
Right.
Probably taking all these folks' income tax.
Yeah, check it out. That's what's happening now.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
And,
predatory.
Put that old thick oil in there,
Mm-hmm.
and,
Right.
and they run for about 6 months, and then you see them in their front yard, toe down, broke down.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But they won't give a dime to the community, and that's ridiculous, man.
But you know what, Johnny? Big Mama would say,
I don't know. My pastor would say, I don't know how we got all the way over here, but we
well,
out here.
we out here now.
We out here now.
We out here now.
Shout out to Tim Jones.
Said, hey, Pastor
I don't know how we got over there.
R. Timothy Jones,
But we
my
over
good
there.
friend.
But we
over
there.
here. But Big Mama would say, at a certain point, you the fool. Because if you keep doing the same thing,
Well, yeah.
because the man don't make you buy that car.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's
You know.
conditioned though.
Well, that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Johnny, at some point, we in Shreveport on this side of the track are gonna have to have a real big boy, big girl conversation about what we want things to happen for us, and start holding everybody accountable. One of the problems that we have in our community is our dollars don't circulate. Right? Part of that, and my father, shout out to my dad, has been saying for 30 years, at a barbershop near you. If y'all know my dad, he's the dude that talks loud with the African hat on. That's my dad. We don't own commercial property.
Hmm.
And if we don't own commercial real estate, we can't decide who's going to be in business.
Right.
Part of the problem that we have is when you look at these corner stores, they're owned by a group of people who used to be in the community. They're not there anymore. They don't sell to our folks. They lease those spots to our Middle Eastern brothers and sisters. And that's who's running the store. And so they're taking the money that's there and sending it to their side of the track and doing whatever. But those dollars very rarely, if ever, circulate. And that's something that we got to do better about. Steve and I talk about this stuff all the time. That there's a community response, but then there's also a public policy response for elected officials to, instead of being on TV, pounding their fists on the desk, when a 17-year-old is killed. It's easy to do that. but talk about the crime or the disrepair of the neighborhood, right? What are you doing to make sure there's quality, affordable, safe, sanitary housing in your district? And what are you doing legislatively to create that? You know, what groups are you talking to create community development?
Right, and we ain't talking about no doggone, you know, because what has happened over the years is they figured out, okay, if we give you 10,000 here, 10,000 over there, 5,000 over here, and you do the backpack giveaway, and you do the food giveaway, and
get the bikes away.
you give a bike away.
That's gonna be enough.
You do the Easter egg hunt, and all of that has its place. That has its purpose and place. However, like I said, when we dedicated that street to Sunrose Rutledge, don't act like you don't see that house falling out over there.
Right.
Because what we cannot do is drop into our communities and pretend like I went to, shout out to Tony Hunter, I went to Magnolia yesterday for the installation of Pastor Tony Hunter at Magnolia. And I could not leave without sending a note to a group of preachers saying, we got to do something about George P. Hendrick.
Correct.
Because it looks a mess.
Right.
And without reaching out to Pastor Tony Hunter and say, Pastor, you're going to have to help me get this right. Because it looks bad.
And at 1555 Abbey Street, there's a house that looked like somebody just rolled a grenade through.
Right. Right. And so, you know, I can come through, read the proclamation, be straight, be cool, laugh.
Take a nice picture in a
I can
suit.
take some pictures in a suit. I can do that.
Do it for the gram.
Do it for the gram. Put on for the gram. But I cannot not notice what is going on in that community. And what happens is, and what I told some pastors is, look, I can't guarantee you this is gonna be fixed. But what I can guarantee you is I'm gonna let some folks know what's going on over here.
Right.
Just hanging out. It's Sunday and these dudes over here hanging out.
Wide open.
You can't sell cars on Sunday.
Right.
Barbers can't cut hair on Monday. But these dudes can be over here at 10 o'clock on Sunday, drunk as a skunk.
Right.
At the liquor store.
Staggering out the street.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me we can't fix that.
Yeah, we can fix a lot of that.
Yeah.
I passed by
Shut that mess down.
Andrew Curry Park. I passed through there at nighttime. The guys rolling dice at the front door. At the front door of the community center.
What you say?
Rolling dice.
What you say?
Come on, man.
And we got this shock and awe when 17-year-olds get murdered out in the street.
I'm being honest with y'all, man. I'm not shocked.
Oh, okay.
I'm really not.
But some folks have this big.
Yeah, I'm over it.
Yeah,
because it's happening so frequently until people just it almost numbs you.
Right.
Because you get so sick and tired of being hurt and crying for the young kids and stuff. But
well, Johnny,
people are products of their environment.
I was about to say, you don't suddenly start shooting 17-year-olds.
No.
Okay?
Right.
That's after you have slid way off the hill into the ravine before you get to that level.
Right.
You know, you've had houses that have been dilapidated that have not been boarded up. You've had grass that has grown up that has not been dealt with, right? You have the rats, the 4-legged and the 2-legged kind, running around in those places for years and nobody addresses it.
Right.
And so there's a school of thought. I think it's you can Google it, folks. The Chicago School of Psychology and Sociology tells you that the level of disrepair in a neighborhood is directly related to your crime rate.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
if you have
or vice versa,
or vice
or
versa,
your crime is directly related to the level of disinvestment that has taken place.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And so,
I mean, how would you not be angry every day?
You wake up.
If you wake up in a situation that looks like a third world country.
Right.
Especially in the summertime when you wake up and it's 80 degrees.
Correct.
Living in a house that ain't got no AC.
Correct.
Right.
Passing through grass.
The baby crying all day.
No windows.
No windows.
No doors.
rats and roaches.
Yeah.
What, how do you expect that person comes out mad? That they wake up mad at
Right,
the world?
right.
And for us to continue, that's why I tell people we got to produce.
Correct.
We can't just sit and say, okay, I'm the superintendent, I'm the mayor, I'm the city council, I'm the commissioner.
You gotta do something.
Right.
We
You
gotta
gotta
do
do
something.
something.
And we have to be intentional and unapologetic about it. I keep saying that. Forget what somebody got to say.
Right.
Right.
Because when they was down here, they took care of Southeast Shreveport.
All the
Right.
time.
And look at it.
Please do not be confused. The disrepair and disinvestment is not everywhere in Shreveport, baby.
Yeah, every place don't look like that.
It's some places in Shreveport that people are living real good.
The man who flew
Real
in here
good.
for the Independence Bowl didn't
No.
fly into Southeast Shreveport.
No.
He told y'all he flew into North Shreveport
And the downtown airport.
in downtown airport. And he rolled through here and he called everybody out.
Yeah.
And then what I find interesting is some of the people who living comfortable down there was mad.
Right. They were the ones that were angriest.
Right. Was mad about it.
Yeah.
How dare he come
Right.
in here?
He disrespected the city. No, you disrespected the city by Let me tell you something, man. Every time.
Man, we supposed to be on education.
Yeah,
man.
we all over the place.
we supposed to be on.
How can you be mad about Ukraine when you look at all the stuff?
Exactly.
You look at all the stuff that's happening in America.
I mean, we ain't worried about America. I'm talking about Shreveport.
I mean, that's good. That's good and dandy. But I'm just saying,
Right. No, I mean,
you got truck drivers out here
Right.
that's going to the Capitol to complain about taking the test, and you have white people lined up all the way down the highway with flags and with Trump shirts on and stuff. I'm just being honest. I'm just telling it like it is. I saw this myself.
They crazy as hell is what they is.
And you want to talk about Ukraine and taking actually taking a test?
They crazy.
Here-
They crazy.
Here's my exhibit A, and I'm gonna stop on this because I can do this all day. My exhibit A is this: Hollywood Avenue,
Yeah,
Piermont Road,
Mhm.
yeah,
Southfield Road
yeah.
is the same street.
Same street. You skipped a part of that.
What's the part I missed?
Broadway.
Okay.
Don't
Yeah.
that thing turn into Broadway?
No. It's a cross section. It's a cross
It's
section.
cross-
It's a cross
yeah.
street.
But it changes. Don't Hollywood changes? when you get
Hollywood changes into a state highway when you go around the airport.
Okay.
So if you
Okay.
start at the airport,
I was thinking. I'm thinking.
that's okay.
Okay. So that's still Hollywood turning
Yeah.
into the airport. Okay. I thought it changed into something. Okay.
So if you start around the airport, you got Hollywood. That's in Moortown. All right.
Gotcha.
Come on through Sunset. There's still Hollywood.
Right.
Come on down Hollywood. Good by Pastor Gant's church and Pastor Hudson's church and all of that.
Right.
Okay.
Hollywood.
Now
Look
you're
to-
gonna
look to-
cross Linwood, right?
Yeah.
It's still Hollywood.
Still Hollywood. Get
Right.
under the interstate.
Get on the interstate. Piermont.
Piermont.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
At Piermont, you in South Highlands.
Right.
Right.
You got Superior Steakhouse. You got the Diamond Place. You got about 3 or 4 banks. There's
You got
one
the
liquor
Gucci.
store.
You got the Gucci Brookshires.
You got the Gucci Brookshires, right? All right, that's Piermont.
You know that's what they
Yeah, it's
call it.
Piermont.
Yeah, but still on Piermont. Okay, you riding down through South Highlands. You passing the mansions. The road go down or go up. You go across the Bayou Pierre. Same street.
Same street.
Okay.
Street.
Now you come around that curve.
Different problem.
Southfield.
Ain't no problems on that side.
I'm talking on this side.
Yeah.
Different problem.
Then you gonna cross Uri Drive.
Southfield.
Not Southfield.
Yeah, it's Southfield now.
Southfield Estates.
Mm-hmm.
High Dollar. Now you around Captain Shreve.
Mm-hmm.
You got another bayou, 2 bayous.
Mhm.
I still ain't passed but one liquor store, by the way. All right, I ain't told you what's on the Hollywood side.
Or a payday loan.
Or
place.
ain't no payday
Or a
loans on
tire
there.
shop.
Ain't no tire shop on there. Ain't no dollar store over there.
Nope.
Okay, but that's and now we're gonna Southfield it all the way probably until doesn't it dead end in the
Captain Shreve.
Captain Shreve or something
Preston.
over there by Preston or Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
And I think don't make me lie. I want to say it'll take you all the way to the river, doesn't it?
It does.
Almost.
It takes
Yeah.
you. It takes you
So
all,
from the Red River,
and it takes you through. It takes you through an unincorporated area
right,
called Dixie
Dixie Gardens.
to the river.
You're right.
And I'm gonna say again, Southfield, Piermont, Hollywood, same street. It's a straight line. It's a straight line. It goes up and down. It curves a little bit, but it's a straight line.
Well, what's the problem?
Ain't no problem.
Resources is the problem.
Resources is the problem. Resources is the problem. I put I-49 between a hard barrier between there and there. I policed the hell out of the Hollywood side. Piermont, Southfield, not so much.
Right.
So I'm gonna tell you, it's high
And when
crime.
we say,
it ain't no crime over there,
and when
though,
we
right?
say police, we talking about, oh my God, your sticker out.
Right,
Oh my God,
right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
yo, little
Right.
petty stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying. So they don't police over there?
No, not like talking about. You don't have the
You
level
ain't got
of
that- you ain't
police
got that.
presence on our end of Hollywood that you do on Southfield.
Right.
But they're gonna argue the point. They're gonna say, "Well, you got more crime on this side than that
Let me
side."
tell you,
so that's the reason why,
here's
right?
my answer to that.
It's the style of
It's
police.
it's the same situation that Trump and them figured out when it came to the virus. The virus numbers was up because you was doing more testing.
Right.
When you do more testing, the numbers gonna be up. And when they realize that, they stop
They
testing.
stop testing.
Testing and policing about the same thing.
Right.
If I have more police, I'm gonna find more crime.
Right.
If I have less police, I'm gonna find less crime. That's a direct correlation. There's no level of deviant. You cannot tell me because I went to school with some of those folks.
They over there
some-
beating their wife.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
They over there.
Uppercut, left cross.
Well,
They may not be.
probably-
They may
probably
not be
just ain't-
doing the left-handed
They
cigarette.
probably just ain't telling it.
They may not be doing.
telling
Yeah. But they
Look,
get the. But
how
they
you
get
think
the.
I know?
Benefit of the doubt.
They get the.
Stay
Now
at
we
home.
just gonna. Yeah, we just gonna resolve this here. And my
The
name
police-
is Captain Such and So.
Right.
And we're just gonna
Right.
resolve this here. You go
Correct.
with your cousin.
Correct.
But everybody else going to jail on this
Say,
side.
baby, on the Hollywood
No.
side,
We body slamming.
right, it's a
Rest in
whole
peace, Tommy MacArthur.
right. It's a whole
We
different
gonna
level
be
of
talking about
aggressive.
education, y'all.
Yeah.
All that's
That's a part of it.
Yeah. On the Hollywood side, we body slamming.
We body slam.
On the Southfield side, you see Sergeant Safety.
Ma'am, let me talk to you how we're gonna resolve this.
Now what they call up on Saturday night.
Ask Councilman James Green when
Right.
he rolled up at the
Right.
eye doctor over there and how they tried to handle him.
Now, James came from Hollywood. He made the mistake of having a conversation on Piermont
On Pyramid.
because the place where he get his eyeglasses on Piermont.
Whoa.
And anybody know James Green is by that laid back, nonchalant,
Pastor coach.
pastor coach. He cool.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm cool. I've seen Coach cuss people out in a calm way.
Yeah.
I don't know how he do that,
Yeah.
but he cuss calm.
Yeah.
He'll tell you he had about 10, 15 police
Yeah.
respond to him.
But they know him.
No, they felt in fear of his. The lady felt in fear of her life. She said he was breaking in
Yeah.
in a Mercedes truck with his name on the front.
With his name on the front.
Yeah,
Wow.
And he's downtown every Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday.
he has been on the city council 3 different times.
Yeah.
He was on the city council in the late 90s. He came back in the early 2000s when I was there, and now he's back in 2010. He's been off and on the city council better part of 20 years. I mean, as a matter of fact, only
2018, I think.
4 people have represented Moortown: Reverend Farr, Joe Shine,
James Green.
James Green,
Definitely.
and Stephen Lynch.
He was just in the wrong part of the town.
He was on Piermont.
That's what I'm saying, but he was still in the wrong part of town. He's supposed to be over here in
Piermont.
Moortown. That's what he supposed to be over in
That's my
Moortown.
argument.
What you doing
That's
over
what.
there?
That's
my
his
argument.
district or whatever you call it,
His
right?
office is on Hollywood.
Yes,
Yeah.
his office is on Hollywood.
But when he
So-
ventured off of the Hollywood
He
side,
went too far over.
he went to the Piermont side.
Man, hey man, I'm just
And some of that on the Piermont side, we don't allow none of that they we gonna countenance on the Hollywood side.
Because remember, they had the big old dress code that they had for Superior, where you couldn't wear
Mhm.
jeans, no jeans allowed.
yeah. I remember they wouldn't even let
little
Queen
open-toe.
open up a
Yeah, all that.
little Queen. You know, Queen when he was trying to open up over off of next to the steakhouse.
Mhm.
They wouldn't let him open.
Piermont. Piermont.
Mm-mm.
Piermont.
So what's
Piermont.
wrap all this up for us, man? What we trying to?
So
What we trying to?
the bow that we want to put on this, and we've meandered a little bit, just a little.
I don't know how we got there, but we was over.
I'm sorry.
It's all
but-
good.
it
was
Sometimes
on
gotta
me.
be
It was
said.
on me.
though.
No, but it's thing that's got to be said.
Gotta
And,
be
and
said.
at the end, the point that I was making at the end of the day is, you cannot separate the laws that are made,
Right.
the public policy that affects our people, and the outcomes.
Right.
And part of your responsibility as an elected official is to pay attention to what's going on.
Right.
Right? You don't have to be an expert at everything, but you do. You owe your constituents a duty
Right.
to learn something.
Right.
Okay, and become an expert in that one thing, so that when that issue comes up on your body, everybody goes to you. When I was elected, my issue was revitalization. So whenever we had an issue of revitalization, everybody turned to me because they knew I was coming, because I set up and did the research. I went to the conferences. I made myself an expert in that area. Well, that's the part of the job as an elected official. It's not to walk around, and granted the place isn't open anymore, but to walk around Pete Harris and look important.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can look good in a suit.
And we got to get off of the emotional roller coaster of just responding and just wanting to put something out there because it gets people riled up.
Right.
It gets people, and I even said this to some black my colleagues that are black.
Right.
We know that black people get riled up by the Confederate money.
Correct.
That shouldn't be the only thing that unites us.
No.
We need to be just as passionate about housing.
Right.
We need to be just as passionate about food security. We need to be just as passionate about why we're spending $6 million at CCC every year on inmate health care.
Correct.
Because that's money that can be redirected somewhere else.
Correct.
And so we have to start leading with the numbers, the data, the trends, and not just be solely about what gets folks stirred up and riled up, because that doesn't always result in good results, as we see what's taking place, to take us back to what took place with Danny McCormick's bill. And I think this school board deal is going to end up the same way. The school board deal is going to end up the exact same way.
So listen, we want to reach out to some of our council members, because I've been seeing some stuff that a couple of our council members have they want to deal with. So on the next show, we're going to try to see if we can get one or two of our council members in here to talk about some of the issues that are pressing to them as we kind of move through the rest of the year. But that's how we're going to end that. We apologize for our rambling. Sometimes our fans and our families like, y'all start over here and wind up in Detroit. Like, hey, sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes it happens that way. But we thank you for participating in this conversation. We pray that it was educational and enlightening. And we'll be back tomorrow. You're listening to 97.7 WKSH. The Heat, we play what we want to play. And as you heard, we say what we want to say. Thank you so much and have a great evening.